The best fights of the week. Wednesday, June 25th. At the Convention Centre in Cairns, Australia, broadcast by Fox Australia, former super lightweight world champion Liam Paro, currently ranked as number 4 in the IBF and the WBO lists, will return to the ring, after losing his belt in December, facing American Jonathan Navarro, who is coming of an upset first defeat to Jair Valtierra. In the undercard, former super featherweight world title challenger Liam Wilson, ranked number 4 in the WBO, will attempt to break into the top 3 by fighting for a minor title against Argentinian Ayrton Osmar Jimenez, who is ranked 14th in the same organization. Thursday, June 26th. At the Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan, WBA minimum weight champion Yuko Kuroki will defend her title against fellow countrywoman Nanako Suzuki, who doesn't possess her experience and boxing skills but could prove to be a more demanding challenge than expected due to her youth, will, and tenacity in her first world championship. At the Sinan Erdem Spor Salonu in Istanbul, Turkey, middleweight Serhat Güler, who was considered one of the most interesting Turkish prospects before his tough and unexpected loss to Martin Bulacio, will continue his recovery process by facing Colombian Juan Diego Ortiz, who suffered his only loss by split decision, on the road and against Cuban prospect Ernest Beatty Beg. Friday, June 27th. The biggest event of Friday, and one of the 2 biggest of the week, will take place at the Centre Videotron in Quebec City, Canada, broadcast on ESPN+. This card, featuring 6 10-round bouts and 1 12-rounder, will feature the WBC Super Middleweight Eliminator between French-Cameroonian Christian Bilay and Polish veteran Maciej Sulecki. Although Sulecki is coming off a strong win against Akhmedov, this seems more like a mirage than a reflection of his current level, so Bilay, who is currently one of the top 3 contenders in the division, will likely defeat him comfortably. The supporting matches for this event will include, among others, Russian heavyweight Arslanbek Makhmedov, who will look to return to winning ways against undefeated Jamaican Ricardo Brown, the entertaining but flawed Canadian middleweight Stephen Butler, who will face Jose de Jesus Macias in a rematch, welterweight prospect Christopher Guerrero, who will take a step up against competent Sandy Massoud, and with super featherweight Layla Bedoin, who will face a decisive test against the gritty former world title challenger Ella Meckled. Also on Friday, at the Charles Koch Arena in Wichita, United States, broadcast by PPV.com, a year after the beating he suffered against Zhilei Zhang, finished former heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder will return to the ring facing an opponent like his compatriot Tyrell Anthony Herndon, who was defeated in 1 round by Efa Jagba and in 2 by Richard Torres Jr. Saturday, June 28th. At the Honda Center in Anaheim, United States, broadcast by DAZN, the other big event of the week will take place. And it is an interesting card not because of what the pathetic individuals, Paul and Chavez Jr., do in the main event, but because of the undercard, which is infinitely above the level of the main bout. In the co-main event, unified WBA/WBO cruiserweight champion, Mexican Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, will put his world titles on the line. However, it should be noted that he will be fighting against Yuniel Dorticos, who hasn't fought in a year, who hasn't faced a high-level fight since losing to Mary's Breedis in 2020, who is very close to retirement, and who will have a really tough time pulling off an upset. Also on this card, undefeated American lightweight prospect Floyd Schofield will face his biggest fight to date against experienced and skilled former champion Tevin Farmer, who is coming off commendable performances against Muratalla and William Zepeda. On the other hand, unbeaten welterweight puncher Avius Griffin will face Julian Rodriguez, who is still looking to rebound with a significant victory after his loss to Pedraza, and Mexican welterweight Raul Curiel will enter the ring, after his draw against Rocha, to fight Uruguayan Victor Ezequiel Rodriguez. At the Place Bell in Laval, Canada, there will be a cruiserweight eliminator between Jean Pascal and Michael Cieslak, which, at a glance, might seem an interesting contest. However, if we look at it more closely, the matchup is grotesque. It's a duel between 2 boxers who have tested positive in doping, for 3 different substances in the case of Pascal, who left behind his prime a decade ago and has since been racking up defeats or controversial victories in his most significant bouts. Furthermore, the winner of this eliminator, with an interim title at stake, won't even be mandatory challenger to WBC champion, so as the organization could have even more profits, he'll have to face Yumil Peralta first. That said, there are still a few other fights to mention. At Pearse Stadium in Galway, Ireland, broadcast by DAZN, locals Joseph Ward, light heavyweight, and Kieran Molloy, welterweight, will take on serious steps up in competition by facing Lerone Richards and Kai C. Benjamin, respectively. At Connexon Live in Hull, United Kingdom, broadcast by DAZN, Shaquan Pitters and Bradley Ray will fight for the vacant European light heavyweight belt. At the Centro de Tecnificación Deportiva in Villarreal, Spain, former world challenger Jairo Noriega will return to the ring, after his loss to Iwata, fighting for the vacant European flyweight belt against undefeated Rakib Mohamed Raji. In Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, a duel between undefeated light heavyweights between Sanderson Diaz and Luis Antonio Tejeda will be broadcast on YouTube. Thanks for watching. More info on our website.